because now it's time to go through the game recaps for round 23. It is in the books. It was an interesting round of footy. I thought it was going to be a bit of a dead rubber in terms of like excitement, but we actually got some pretty thrilling games. When was the last time you had 2 draws in a round, let alone one team playing and drawing for the second time in a season?
Well, 1977,
Thank
to
you.
answer the first part of that question. The second part, I don't know.
I actually don't think it's ever happened. I don't think
That seems so statistically unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 draws in a round, yeah, I consider happening once every 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 sides playing and drawing twice in the same season. I don't believe you.
8 quarters.
Stop harassing me.
8 quarters, no winners. Sorry, 8 quarters and no winners is insane. It's mental, and it was a cracking game of football. Some really finals like pressure across this game, across the Carlton and Western Bulldogs game as well, and also Jesse with this one, which will be the first game we speak about off the trot on Friday night. No Thursday night footy this week because the WAFL got kicked off, which is fine. 16-16.
Do you mean the AFLW?
I did, yeah. Well, I said WAFL, didn't I? I get them confused all the time. AFLW, thank you, Jesse, for the correction. 16-16, 112 to the Dockers, downing the Adelaide Crows 13-10, 88. It was good to get back on the winning side of a big game, Jesse, because for the second week in a row, you have mentioned that you hate the fact that Freo were in 2 good games of footy.
Oh, it's so fatiguing. I'm fatigued. Like, I love that. I'm so happy that my team is good.
Sure.
I would love to watch the best side in the competition as a neutral. I'm kind of used to it, and now it's been ripped from me. I'm like, it's actually really fun watching good teams play football and not having to stress about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, the stress is just beginning, my friend, because we're at the tail end of the season.
Yeah, it is.
This is nothing compared to what we got to deal with in the next month and a bit. Crikey Moses. But look, it was a fantastic effort by the Freo Dockers to get this win. Again, kind of a bit of a second half blitz. I think the Dockers have outscored their opponents nearly 5-fold, I think, in the second halves this season. Just goes to show like where they are strongest. A miss was fantastic. He's coming second in the comma, which is fantastic. I didn't actually know that. I think he's eight goals behind Charlie, but whatever. that's fine. We don't care about that too much because he's playing some pretty good footy, Jesse.
Liam, who is our third best player?
Rowan Marshall. This is the first game. How did I get that wrong?
That's okay. While you ponder, I want to talk about a couple of things. This is going to sound unusual, so stay with me because this point is going to make sense at the start, but I'm hoping it will by the end. I am really glad that Fremantle allowed Isaac Rankin to get off the chain a bit.
Okay.
For this, obviously, that can absolutely hurt you in a finals environment. It could have hurt us on Friday night. It absolutely can hurt you. However, with the games that Sarong, Brayshaw, Young, Bolton all played, I'm really glad that we didn't lose our nerve and go back to a regressive style of football to negate one guy.
Yeah.
When there's four or 5 guys that can just inflict stab wound after stab wound after stab wound into your back six, which is what that Fremantle team can do. So obviously no Murphy Reid. He's very much a utility on that tool. Another player that hurts you inside 50. So I'm comfortable with this. I'm very glad that Fremantle aren't focused on tagging. Obviously, you can have players that will have defensive accountability. Matt Johnson usually gets that type of responsibility when required on a bigger bodied midfielder, and he's having a very good season as well. But I was comfortable with Rankin being off the chain because although he was very good and he was absolutely the best player on the field across the board, it made me feel more confident in Fremantle's midfield group that just by pure weight of quality, they can negate that. Now, Adelaide's probably the right team to do it in because with respect to Adelaide, I don't think they have a lot of excellent midfielders outside of Dawson and Rankin. And we know Dawson spends a bit of time forward, gets shoved out of the midfield rotation. So really, you're taking on a lot of guys like Berry a lot. You're trying to push these guys out of the contest. So I thought that was a real positive for Fremantle. Understanding it comes with a risk. Round 23, when you're secured a top 2 in a home final, is the perfect place to just see how it goes. And I think that worked out well.
I think that was meant to be Luke Jackson, not Rowan Marshall. I got my big boys confused in my head, apparently. Or I just didn't change it from last week's graphics. Whoopsie daisy. No, it was great to see, and obviously seeing Duds. You're coming around to Duds, aren't you?
I am.
I've been harping on all year. I've been like, he's okay. Like go on.
His conversion for the opportunities he gets, but that's always been my concern with Isaiah Dudley, and I'm happy to stand by that concern.
Sure.
Is that he doesn't get the ball very much, so you're relying on him to be pretty close to perfect to have an impact on the game. To Dudley's credit, he has just about been perfect all season. So, he is a guy that is probably going to be one of the first players to drop out of a team if he hits a bad patch of form, because you can't have someone touch the ball 5-6 times and not impact the game. But he's impacting the game every single week, which is awesome to see. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. I'm happy to put my hand up and say I have been concerned about Dudley's selection in the team. I have questioned the validity of that selection at times as well when he's had bad weeks. But to his credit, his conversion of opportunities would be up there for the best in the competition. There would be few that touch the ball as little as he does and have as much impact on the game as he does.
He loves a good tackle too, doesn't he? You want to quickly talk about your man crush, Hugo Holgahan, because you put him in your best. You froth over him every single week. Why is he in the best, Jesse?
Well, I don't think Adelaide had a great night defensively. Holgahan, at least is willing to take the game on a bit, and I think Adelaide looked a bit afraid of Fremantle, especially in that second half. There was a bit of fear and trepidation about, well, how do we move through Fremantle style, because Fremantle aren't as zonal as a lot of other teams in the competition. Pearce is willing to come off an opponent if he needs to, but very much Fremantle rely on their individuals to win their matchups. It's such a 180 from what we've seen with the Dockers in the last 36 months or so that it is almost unrecognisable tactically, which you talk about other people having given credit to. I will give Justin Lemieux plenty of credit here because the side has been completely revitalised this season, and it does feel like the Dockers now are in a position where they've clearly have the talent. That is, none of it's ever been in question. The Dockers have potential top 4 talent, but we're now seeing it come together tactically, and we're seeing the value of guys like Nathan O'Driscoll, Neil Erasmus, Matt Johnson. I mean, Johnson now has elevated himself to be, I think, one of the most underrated players in the competition with his utility. Now, look, he is still making mistakes with the ball at times. That's pretty obvious. He is prone to a missed handball or two. But I think, as you said, and for him to already be impacting games the way he is with under 100 games, if Murphy Reid didn't exist, I think a lot more people would be talking about Matt Johnson as a very exciting young player for the Dockers.
Obviously, it was a game that Adelaide needed to win, I think, to keep themselves out of the wild card. I think it's likely they're going to finish in that wild card zone now, which is going to be a little bit disappointing given last year they finished top of the Pops. So they're going to have to do it the hard way this year, unless something crazy happens. But yes, we'll move on to the next game, Jesse, because we obviously do have many games to go through. I don't think there's going to be many games we have to say a lot about, but that's okay. Let's move on to this one at the MCG on Saturday, 6-9-45 to the Tigers, going down to the Saints 14-10-94, in what was a game the Saints needed to win to keep their finals hopes alive, pending the result of the Carlton and Bulldogs game. They got the job done. Mitch Owens went bananas, kicked a few goals. He was great. Hall's been fantastic for most of the season. What's to say about this one, Jesse?
I want to talk about Brad Hill.
Would you like to talk about Brad Hill?
I would love to talk about Brad Hill. Now, let me start this piece because this is something I was very much paying attention to throughout this game. Brad Hill is a fantastic player. He is going to be a very much appreciated 300 gamer when he hits that next weekend. We're going to be there, Liam, hopefully, to give him a clap for his 300th game. 3-club player, very good user of the football, very talented. Has had an impact across 3 clubs. So, to be clear, this actually is not about Brad Hill specifically. It's about Ross. I'm going to name some teams comparing to what Brad Hill is doing at St Kilda at the moment. I want to see if you can tell me the difference. You may not be able to, but I want to see if you can tell me.
Okay.
Fremantle?
Yes.
Don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney? Don't do this. Geelong do this far less than they have in the past. Brisbane have significantly stopped it this year. Hawthorn only really do it when they're under the cosh and nowhere near to the degree that St Kilda are doing it.
I like a good challenge, Jesse, but I'm not too sure.
I don't think we now have room for designated kicker in the game.
Okay.
I look at it and I just think Brad Hill acting as that quarterback role at the pointy end of the defense and basically organising switches and sometimes attacking through the corridor. I don't think with 6-6-6, with stand, it's working in the same way that it once did.
Okay.
You see Fremantle, when Fremantle very rarely deploy designated kicker now. Ryan basically is useless because he doesn't do anything now. He just kind of stands there. Clark is no longer required to designate a kick. He's required to do overlap and run. And Brad Hill absolutely does do that. So again, in no way is a criticism of Brad Hill. But when you see a guy getting 40-odd touches, yes, they won the game easily, but I would say Hall's impact was double that of Hill's, if I could quantify it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, not a criticism Of Brad Hill. I don't want St Kilda fans to be upset about this because I actually have a lot of nice things to say this week. But but I think ultimately this tactic is deployed by kind of West Coast do it with McCarthy to a degree. Not a lot, but they do. The Giants do it with Whitfield and Ash rotating the role. That's really it. Roberts did it for a little bit at Essendon at the start of the year, but doesn't really do it anymore. Certainly not since the coaching change. What about those three teams and St Kilda? What do those four teams have in common this year, Len?
Oh, Jesse, you keep throwing things at me. What do they got?
They're not playing finals.
Gotcha. Yeah, I probably could have got that one. My bad.
Yeah. So I guess when I look at that, so when people are mounting criticism on Ross Lyon, I think you need to separate the fact that St Kilda have had a rough run with injuries this season to tactically, when these players are back, is 6th place, 5th place, 8th place, is that good enough? And is the investment then validating that? And I look at the usage of designated kickers, and I'm not sure that it is. And Naz does this a fair bit as well when he is in the team. Like, there's a reason Naz does get 40 a lot of the time. But I guess North can probably go in there as well because Parker, Daniel, Sheasel, they all have rotated that role in the past too. Like, it seems to me like St Kilda want to be a finals side, and that is their stated objective, but they're playing a very regressive game style that no one else is playing. Brisbane's a great example of this. Their kick mark game, ever since they were punished for it about halfway through the season, that's been reduced dramatically. Yeah. And Fagan's adapted and said, well, this isn't working anymore. We're inviting pressure onto ourselves. Hard-running teams are hurting us because they're forcing us to a mistake. We're getting called play on. We're in trouble. They've completely flipped that, and I think by and large that has been a very successful move. That's my concern with St Kilda.
So I'm hearing two things. One thing is, first thing is I'm very excited to hear what our end-of-year review of St Kilda is going to be. You're saying some nice things tonight, Jesse. We'll see what it's like when you get there. And second, Ross the boss?
Pressure.
See you later?
I think so. And look, I think that's not to say Ross can't have a role within the football club and have an impact on the team. But this game really made me think the game has gone past him, and it was a 50-point win.
Yeah, that's the
maybe,
thing, right?
maybe because Richmond gave Hill so much space. I was like, okay, he really is acting as designated kicker here beyond what else I would expect to see. But that was my overriding opinion of important win, did the job. Owens was awesome and stood up when it counted. Hall is a fantastic player. Pretty all-Australian caliber player. I think certainly next year, if not squad this year for me. Wilkie was excellent. Really helps them out too. Stocker has a boot on him as well. So lots of positives to take out of this game specifically. It's obviously not a great weekend for Saints fans, but yeah, that's probably the main thing I wanted to talk about when we actually want to do balanced criticism on this podcast. I think that's a fair criticism of St Kilda's game style. I don't think designated kicker is working for them, and I would love to see the confidence in the gut running of Naz, Hill, Hall, these fast, mobile, brilliant users of the football to just be allowed to run and gun a bit. I know that's very anti-Ross, but then maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just kind of solved the problem right there. Flip reverse it. Let's quickly talk about the Richmond Tigers because we've got to move on. Anything to say about the Tigers in this one, Jesse?
They're ready for Bali, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they're mentally ready for Bali. I can understand that. I did actually write the season review for the Tigers yesterday for the most part. Yeah, I'm really concerned about the development of the key forwards. They're just passengers, and Lynch is stoppable when you put three opponents on him, and who wouldn't be. But the lack of step up outside of Lynch is really alarming, and the lack of progression we're seeing. It's starting to get to that point now where that is becoming a legitimate criticism for Richmond.
So we know they're building, Jesse, but that's probably the key focus for the off season. You reckon? Get that forward line up and firing. Very good. Let's move on to the next game here at Marvel Stadium. 17-8, 110 to the Kangas. 19-11, 125 to the Cats. Now the Kangas got off to an absolute barn burner flyer start here. They were up by, what, was 44-1 at some stage, I'm pretty sure. And then the Cats were like, wait a second, we're Geelong. We are the greatest team of all. And they flew on back, and then it was a bit of a fight. bit of a back and forth fight to then. And then obviously the Cats got home in a high scoring affair, one might say. Cream always rises to the top, Jesse, doesn't it?
It does. I'm happy to make a call now.
Okay.
If there isn't a change at St Kilda, whether it be Ross adapts or Ross goes, I think North will finish above them next year.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, the Kangas have had a few years now where they've been just languishing, obviously, outside of the finals. And we say this every year, it's been a very slow build. It's been a very slow burn. But you can see everything is kind of there. It's just that extra X factor it's just missing. And I feel like it's the finishing power. They don't have the finishing power yet. And I feel there's just that mental, that kind of maybe immaturity about the team that still needs to improve to get them to that next level. But that can click. That can just click in an instant. So they could be a formidable team next year. But so far this year, obviously not there. But what did you like about it, Jesse?
I love the way they're willing to take it, but I think composure is the right word, Liam, we're looking
for.
Yeah, not quite there yet for North. I think composure is the issue, and that's been the case for a couple of years now. I do think it's developing. It's just not quite there yet. So I think it's very much a case of just hold steady, North. I don't think 10th place is unrealistic for them next season. I think they can absolutely make a wild card in season 2027. Not just off the back of this game, where they were very good for the most part. I love the fact that although they gave up the lead, they kept going. And they kept fighting, and they didn't just roll over, which I think they probably would have at the start of the year. They definitely would have last year. So that in itself is progress. I'm loving what we're seeing from O'Sullivan. You got named in your best there, Liam. I think that's a really good sign for him. Lucky, good to see him get some form back. But if we talk about Geelong as well, they just have a very well-rounded side that can reel in these teams that are maybe a bit more fly by the seat of their pants, bit more raw, bit more unrefined, and they just get on top of you. Like, very rarely do these sides beat Geelong. If you play the game 10 times, they might win 2 or 3 of them in just the balance of probabilities. Usually you just get Geelong able to grind their sides down, win comfortably. Again, we can apply the rule of performance doesn't matter, the 4 points do against sides you're not going to play in the finals. I think we'll apply that here for Geelong. They got the job done. I think they'll be very happy with their scoring power.
Yes.
That's a good sign. I think this is a good game, a good late season game of footy that might preview a potential rise next season for the Roos.
Hopefully Shees is okay. that was one of the best shiners I've ever seen in my life. I think him and Merritt this week were having a competition for the best shiner, I think. But no, that was a nasty one. Hopefully he's avoided a fractured cheekbone. That's what we can hope for him, because otherwise he can't get the plane to Bali. Too much air pressure. Should we move on, Jesse, to the next one?
I'm sure he can go to Tasmania.
Beautiful. Spirit of Tassie.
Via the Spirit of Tassie only.
All right, let's move on to the Q Clash at the Gabba on Saturday night. 14-11-95 to the Lions, beating the Suns. I don't know if it was a nighttime game. Doesn't matter. 6-17-53 to the Suns.
I don't really have anything to say.
No, me either. Me either. It happened. Rowell and Miller look good again when it doesn't matter anymore, which is fantastic. They've turned it around. Ashcroft was good.
Both of them.
Both of them, yeah. Both of them are very good. I mean, I'm more than happy just to move on, Jesse, if there's nothing to say, because we don't have those games very often.
I know we do have a couple of Lions fans that tune in, so I will.
Oh, do you know what, Jesse? Good on you. I'm going to have a swig.
You have a swig. I will talk. Really promising signs to see Zorko getting back to a bit of health. That's obviously really important for him as well. And really vital for Brisbane as well throughout their finals campaign. I do like what we're seeing from the Lions. This could have gone a different way if the Suns kicked straight, and they did kick themselves out of the game a bit. In saying that, though, despite that, I didn't really feel like Brisbane were in any significant danger. This is where the challenge for the Suns now comes, because this was a really good opportunity for the playing group, not for Damien Hardwick, but for the playing group, to kind of draw a bit of a line in the sand and say, okay, this year has gone terribly. It is honestly probably the worst conceivable outcome. Mm-hmm. I don't think you could have conceived them finishing lower than where they are. So this is realistically like the doomsday scenario for the Suns. Let's get a win against the rivals that are probably going to be, at the very least, they will be in a semi-final, I would say, potentially further, going for a third premiership. Let's beat them. They beat us in a final last year. Mm-hmm. Let's beat them and start building. Let's beat them. Let's go down to Marvel. Let's beat the Saints on Thursday. Let's actually get something to go into the summer with. I think this makes it worse because, yes, they missed their chances. Yes, it was probably a gettable game because they had those chances at goal, but they were held at arm's length. It's a 42-point loss. We've been supporters of a side that's been a little brother in a state for a long time. It's demoralising. I think this is very much the case here.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how this season turned around. Like the Suns and the Blues, just like complete antitheses of each other. Antithesis. That's complete opposites. It's disappointing from a Suns perspective. I think we both expected them to do really well this year. And I don't know, Jesse, do they get rid of Petrarca straight away or no?
That would be... Well, who would take him?
Food Channel?
Because you're going to have to pay him $1 million a season. He's not going to take a pay cut, a significant pay cut. The only team I can see realistically taking would be like a Collingwood, and that's if he agreed to take a pay cut.
Well, Collingwood are getting pretty much everyone else this offseason, so it should be fine.
Well, I'd say they'd probably get him in lieu of Neil. Which I would probably do. Petrarca should have more years in him.
That is true. I mean, Lockie's probably got, what, 1, 2 maybe?
2 max, I would say.
2 max. All right, shall we move on?
Yep. Sorry, Brisbane and Gold Coast fans, but honestly, the game is defined by the fact that Brisbane are just better than the Suns are.
Yep. That semi-final feels like a flash in the pan now. Feels like so long ago. Crikey Moses. Hawks, 13-14-92. Magpies, 13-14-92. These two teams don't want to beat each other. It's a nice little brotherhood. No one's getting the win this year. A draw, Jesse. A draw.
What happens if this is the grand final? If we just play in permanence and then opening round is delayed because the grand final's still going because they insist. Hey Liam.
Hey.
The worst performer of the round wasn't Essendon. It wasn't Richmond. It wasn't West Coast. It was the cameraman.
Okay.
For the final second of this shot. What are you doing?
Yes. Yeah, because everyone was like up in arms and celebrating watching the ball fly across. I didn't even see the young fella. What's his name? He's only played a couple of games.
Rising star. He is a star too. I was hot on him in the draft video for Collingwood, saying I think this is the big body midfielder they're looking for in this draft class. Lo and behold, whom had a big game and a Rising Star nomination? Whom did that? He could win the Rising Star next year. He'll definitely be eligible games-wise.
Yeah.
That's a watch. Yeah. That's a watch, people. Sam Swadling for the Rising Star in season 2027.
Haven't seen a hand of God that good since Chappie a couple of years ago against Adelaide. Boof. But they got the win. This one got the draw, which is fine. Craig McRae definitely thought it was a win, so good on him. I do like that energy, though. Like, if you're a draw...
I thought it was a bit weird. I don't know. I understand you. I understand you want to get the momentum going, but surely a respectful clap for your fans would suffice.
Yeah, I mean, I get that he's trying to like celebrate all the wins and all the little wins and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean,
Jurgen Klopp did that in his first season with Liverpool, like a right peanut. He made all the players go over as well.
It's a draw. All the teams are even. They have to play that, by the way. That's a really good song. It's a great song.
You know what song they should never play again?
Oh my God! Do we have to go back to the Freo game real quick?
Yeah, I really hated that. I'm sorry. I'm sure that's a lovely artist that made it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's great.
It wasn't for me.
It wasn't for me. That sounded AI as all get out. Back to this though. What's to say about the actual game? Obviously, it was a really hard-fought game of football. It's a good game of football to watch as well. Like, this is what you watch footy for, these kind of finals atmosphere kind of games, finals intensity. Both these teams wanted to win this game for different reasons, and obviously both couldn't get it done. Definitely means less for the Magpies drawing this than the Hawks. The Hawks would have loved to have had those 4 points. Would have been very, very handy for them indeed, because now they're still a little bit gettable. What are your thoughts on the game, Jesse?
Utterly bizarre that we had them draw again. Like that is just
crazy.
In terms of the actual game itself, hard fought contest. Mm-hmm. Just two sides trading blows. I'm now pretty convinced there's not much difference between 4th and 8th based on this game. And this kind of alludes back into our deep dive, which you can go and watch if you're just watching the games review on YouTube, into our best minor premiers of the 21st century. It does make me think there's a bit of a pool or a clump, as we've used in the past, Liam, between I'll include Sydney. I know they're well clear. I'll include them. 2nd through to 8th of just teams that are largely bobbing around themselves. I don't want to say those teams can't beat a Fremantle or won't beat a Fremantle, but they will, this could easily be a semi-final or a prelim between these two sides, and it would generally feel like a coin toss. You'd probably give Hawthorn the points advantage on the basis of finishing higher on the ladder, but equally, it would be no surprise if Collingwood were then to go and win that game. Such is the evenness of this competition from second through to... I'll include Carlton. I think the Dogs are kind of done. I'll include Carlton.
Carlton's form is kind of scary coming into it's going to be a really, really interesting game between them and Freo coming up this round, because obviously not much to play for except for, form coming into the finals. And obviously Carlton will be jumping right in much sooner than the Freo Dockers. So it'll be interesting to see. We're not talking about them though right now. We're talking about these two. But McCreary had a fantastic game as well. One of his better games for the year. And he's not a bad player by any stretch, but he was really, really good. Any other players stand out for you, Jesse, in this one?
We talked about him before, but Swadling really showing a lot of promise for the Magpies. That's what they're going to want to see. Joe Newcombe was really good as well.
Yeah.
Fought hard all day, key part of that Hawthorn engine room, and does often have to do it by himself as well at times. So really good to see him firing. Very important for any Hawthorn finals push in the coming weeks.
Ooh, Jesse, let's move on to the next one here. I've got a few games to go. 8-8.
Fast.
Yeah, this one should be really quick. 8-8-56 to the power. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Jesus Christ. And then 2012, 132 to the Demons. A bit of a pantsing in the end. Not the best way for the Power to see off their fans this year, but that's okay. Words to say, Jesse?
Yeah, the only thing I am going to say on this is this has now really... The Van Rooyen suspension gravely concerns me for Melbourne's finals chances. Not necessarily because of Van Rooyen himself being suspended, although that is bad. But if you think back to how Melbourne beat Fremantle, it was a Harris and Petty getting off the chain, getting the second or third defender. Now, if Van Rooyen's not in the team, Petty's getting the best defender. I don't think Petty can go and defeat Harris Andrews. I don't think pound for pound across a 3-hour game. I don't think Harris and Petty can defeat an Alex Pearce across a 3-hour game, pound for pound. I don't think you can defeat a Tom McCartan across a 3-hour game, pound for pound. Or even Connor O'Sullivan for the Cats, pound for pound. So if you now don't have that distraction, it's why Pat Voss is so good. It is why Pat Voss is good. Because he doesn't get the best defender. He had Worrell and he was quieter on Friday night. It's why Joe Amos and Tracy get 50 goals each, because you have to go and deal with one, and then there's another one there who now gets a slightly worse defender and kicks 4 goals as a result. That works. So I don't think Petty is good enough to lead the line as a key forward, to lead the line. I think he needs Van Rooyen in the team. Him not being there, potentially for 2 Demons finals matches, I don't see them getting to a third without him, and then him coming back into that team. I think he then plays round 1.
It was such a silly thing to do as well.
Stupid.
So avoidable. You didn't have to do that at all. And took out obviously Aaliyah, who's been one of the Port's best players this season, if not one of his.
They're only remote hope of an All-Australian squad player. He's been excellent this season.
Yeah, fantastic.
He is one that I would be, if I was a top 4 or 6 club that needed a key defender, I'd be making the phone call.
Yeah, gotcha.
To his management and saying, you know what? I don't think you're going to be contending for 3 years. You probably don't have a lot left. I think his draft year was 2013. You don't have a whole long left. What, say, a 2-3 year deal at I know we're saying Collingwood for literally everyone, but a Collingwood, I don't think Brisbane would be foolish to ask the question. Sydney, again, he goes go back. The only team probably doesn't need him is Fremantle, because then Oscar McDonald, Aaliyah, Brendan Cox, and Alex Pearce will all play. And there'll be so many of them.
The actual wall. You cannot get past this at all.
And they jump so high too, because Aaliyah just jumps like volleyball, just spikes you back down over the wall. But no, I think in all seriousness, that's all there is to really talk about this. The Power are, I think that we'll go send them into Lombok. We can't send everyone to Bali, so they're on the way to Lombok.
Lombok's nice, yeah.
Oh, I heard it's great this time of year. So there you go, Josh and co. Over your head. Horn France is having a good year as well. Wines showed something, which is nice. Probably, I don't know his contract says. I think he might be out of contract into this year. That might be a contract game from old Oliver.
All right, let's move on to the next one, Jesse. You've got Sunday's games to go. 3 indeed at NG Stadium in front of about 45 people. The Giants 16-15, 111, beating the West Coast Eagles 7-15-57. Look, it's still disappointing for the Eagles, right? I mean, what is it they're missing? They're missing something, because they've got some good players on the team, but it's just the old. I know I've got Tim Kelly in the best there, but the older guard is pretty. Blech.
I mean, clearly they're hurt by having no Jimby, and then absolutely no other quality around him even when he is there. So I appreciate that does hurt you a lot in terms of your structure, your setup. Obviously, Waterman just missing everything isn't helping at all.
No.
I think it's a McQualter issue, Liam. I do think I've really, in the last month, I've really turned that corner now and have moved into the camp of I don't think he's the guy. And I think West Coast now, they're too big of a club. I know this is an old trope that like Carlton, Essendon and co use, but I genuinely think West Coast are too big of a club to just languish. And yes, if you look at it on a very linear level, they have improved the season. They're going from last to 16th. They've won 4 games instead of 1. There is an improvement there. Like, you can't deny that. However, I don't think they've improved enough. I'm still bewildered as to why Willem Dersma played. Yep. And then he seemed to get a really weird clip by McQualter in the presser as well. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that, but the inference that Dersma needs to get better at channeling his emotions. Well, I think there's a player in your team that probably needs that help more, and is also not in desperate need of a rest and in his first season. Like, I don't know. I'd love to hear from West Coast fans. I know, Liam, you've got one that wasn't a fan of my call. But, but am I wrong here? Like, and if I am wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong, how am I wrong? What am I missing here with McQualter and West Coast? Because I do watch West Coast every week. I watch all the games, but West Coast I do pay a fair bit of attention to, obviously, given the WA factor. I'm not seeing improvement here. This was an arm's length game from a Giants side that was really on the beach already, that just had an easy afternoon.
I think it's also just an attitude thing as well. Like, there's a certain apathy amongst some of especially the older players that seems to be feeding off. And I don't blame Dersma for being emotional. Like, he was in tears a couple of weeks ago after the close loss, and it shows that it means something. Like, as a coach, 100%. Why would you be going up to him saying, "Control that"? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Especially with Harley Reid throwing fists everywhere. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, Jesse, that's fine. Hopefully they get better next year. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Giants also had a outside chance of making the wild card if it wasn't for this game. Boom. At Marvel Stadium, 12-10-82 to the Bulldogs. A 12-10-82 to the Carlton Blues. Who needs one draw, Jesse, when you can have 2? Why not?
This was the better game as well. They were both very good games. This game was awesome. This
just had desperation.
This was a final.
Yeah.
Like, even though Carlton obviously were playing as an elimination final, Dogs didn't need to, but they desperately needed some confidence after what has been a pretty torrid month. This played out as a final.
No, I was secretly hoping the Bulldogs were going to win, like I said at the top of the pod in the other video. I was hoping the Bulldogs would get this done, that the Blues had to play for finals. You had Saints still playing for finals, potentially the Giants still playing for finals. Having Carlton versus Freo, where there was actually some stakes involved in it, would have been cool. Would have been neat.
No, because Carlton always find a way to beat us. So,
but it doesn't matter to us now, does it?
Still, I don't want to lose. I'm sick of losing to Carlton. It's always Carlton.
It is always Carlton. Look, Jesse, I don't think I've ever seen us win in Melbourne, so don't get your hopes up for next week either.
I'm 1 from 1, so.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Oh,
needs to be 2 from 2.
Well, do you know what that means? Draw. Cut the differences. Yeah. We'll make another draw next week and we're fine.
If it's the close at 3/4 time, I'm kicking you out of the stadium. You can make an early run for the Melbourne Dogs game.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll see you there. But no, just a cracking game of footy. Liberatore was feisty as always, but had the touches in the game to back it up this time. Most of the time I see Liberatore running the pitch and I'm just like, he is there. His role is to be a nuisance. That's it. That's what it feels like to me. But tonight he had a pretty good game. Tonight, sure. Sunday, he had a pretty good game. Yesterday, oh my God, I'm so tired. Jesse, what do you have to say about this game?
Yeah, Akers and Hewitt really stood up. Cripps as well. You've got him in your best there. So, but yeah, Akers really stood up. The right defensive matchup.
Patrick Cripps.
Why not? Honestly, why not? Feisty game too.
Yeah, it was.
Love Harry Dean. Love the way Harry Dean goes about it. Just does not care.
Mm-hmm.
Just goes after it. Plays with passion. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been a legitimate reason why Carlton have gotten so much better.
Okay.
Because he is so passionate and he seems like a guy that drives standards, even as a first-year player. Like, he really strikes me as a player that just bleeds that navy blue. Obviously, father-son, the connection there, but like he flies the flag for his football club in a way that very few players do. And I love seeing that. So big ups for Harry and the way he plays. The Dogs, I think they had their chances on the basis that Carlton's forwards are a good matchup for the Dogs' undermanned and undersized defence.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kemp, McGovern, I know Mackay's down there, but those are the type of matchups that they can like cling on to rather than a Tracy Amos Voss type scenario. So they probably should have won.
Yeah.
With the game in the way it was. I don't know. I'd feel happy they didn't get demolished, but I would be disappointed as well, and I'd be gravely concerned about a first week exit if I was the Dogs. I think that's probably the most likely outcome of any finals matchup based on what we've seen in the last month is a Dogs first week exit. Yeah,
unfortunately, I tend to agree. But a quick question, Jesse. Obviously, no English, no Bontempelli. Is there something to be said? Is there a scientific experiment we can do here to say that when your best ruckman and your best player is not there, that you sometimes play better because you're not just always looking for those people, right? So 2 best players out. Dogs put up probably the best performance they've done in the last month or so, maybe 2. Is there something in that?
I want to see how St Kilda go against Gold Coast, so a more comfortable team without Naz, and then we can make that assessment.
Fair enough. One more game to get through, Jesse. It won't take us too long. The Bombers 11-10-76. Put up a bit of a fight against the Swans 17-10, 112. There was one point in the third quarter. You texted me and said, "Oh, go Dons." They might
be funny.
Be funny. Yeah, be funny.
Be ha
to beat the Swans. But no, the Swans were obviously too good in that last quarter, as they usually are, and ran home quite comfortable victors. Anything, Jesse, that you would like to say about this one at all?
Great game from Visentini. Sydney Stars are just far too good for what the Bombers have to offer.
That's pretty much it, right? That's pretty much that game in a nutshell. Jesse, are we done? Shall we send everyone home?
Done. Let's. Podcast listeners, you've sat through this for an hour and 2 minutes. Thank you very much for tuning into the Cinema Perfect AFL podcast, a 5-star review on your preferred podcasting platform. Much appreciated. For those just here for the games review on YouTube, like, subscribe, go and check out our deep dive into the best minor premiers, and go and check out tips and trades for who we think will get the job done in the final round of the home and away season. Talking of reviews earlier, Liam, the best type of review that people can give us is word of mouth. So tell your friends, tell your family. If you're going on a footy trip this weekend, the last round of the season, make sure you tell the pilot to read it over the PA system, to tune into the Cinema Perfect AFL podcast. In fact, play it over the PA system for 3 hours or however long your flight is. Make everyone enjoy it. I don't think we get extra views for that. Find a way to hack the in-flight entertainment. I don't care. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Centimetre Perfect AFL podcast.
Bye, everybody.